and welcome to this creative video workshop on character, story and animation. In this video, we're going to take a deeper look at some of the settings in Stop Motion Studio, the app we've been using to animate our story. We're going to look at things like adding sound effects and audio and copying and pasting parts of our animation to make it easier to do. For this one, you're just going to need your smartphone or your tablet with the Stop Motion app, and maybe just one little bit of your story so you can copy the things that I do, that I'm showing you in the video, and you can have a go at doing them. Just pause the video and see if you can copy whatever I've just done. And it's going to help us create more interesting animations when we bring our whole story to life. Okay, good luck. So let's have a bit of a deeper look at some of the settings and things you can do in the app Stop Motion Studio. I've got the app open here, and I've got my animation of David Biscuit floating in space that I did in an earlier video. So, first of all, as you probably already know, all the pictures that you take for your animation go at the bottom here, and you can flick through them just by dragging your finger across that row of pictures, so you can go to any of the pictures that you have selected. Now, the first thing I want to take a look at is the settings under this wheel here, the settings symbol. The first one you get is the frame rate. That was one we briefly looked at in a previous video. That's how quickly your video will go from picture to picture. If your frame rate is low, for example, 1 or 2, that was 2, you'll have 2 frames a second. That's very slow. You see how slow David Biscuit is moving through space. If we turn up that frame rate, we'll have more photos per second, and 12 is quite a good starting point. But you could make him zip through space at super speed by turning this all the way up to 30. That's a bit too hectic. So I'm going to have my frame rate on 12. Great. Now the next thing we're going to look at under this settings button here is the fade. That's the next button along from the frame rate. You get fade. Now what this allows you to do is fade your video in from black, in and out, or out to black. So you can have a fade in and out on your video. So you'll see mine fade to black there and fade back in when it loops. So that'll allow you to add a fade. If you want to get rid of your fade, you just press this one. The next one I want to look at is the foreground one. That's the one in the middle. We can add one of these foregrounds to our animation. A foreground is a bit of scenery that happens in front of what you have made. So now I've put Dave Biscuit with a bit of moon and the earth in the background. I rather like that, so I'm going to leave it in. Okay, next setting. You've got some filters here just next to the foregrounds. These will allow you to make your animation black and white, different colours, invert the colours, do a mirror image. This is a good one. It creates a mirror down the middle, so you can get really interesting effects like this. All right. Or things like this as well. You can have some fun with these. Okay, and if you want to get rid of your filter, you can go back there, just hit none there. And fine, and that's all the global settings here that are helpful to us. Now we're going to have a look at a couple of the editing settings here. So to pull up the editing settings, you just press one of your frames and it will pull up this menu here. We're just going to go through these quickly. Insert camera. We'll take the camera from the end of your pictures to wherever you've pressed insert camera. So now I'm here, I can take pictures and insert them into the the videos at the bottom here, into the pictures at the bottom here. If you want to put it back, you can send the camera to the end, and that's where your camera will go to add pictures to your animations. It will add the pictures from the moment you've inserted it from that point. Next to the insert camera is pause. Now, pause is helpful if you want your animation to stay on a single frame for a while. Perhaps you've got a bit of text that you want to give people enough time to read, or just a still image you want them to look at. Now, this is how long your video will pause for on that frame. So if you turn it up to 44, it will add 44 of that frame and give you a nice long pause. It'll help people read text if you need a bit more time for some text in your story that you're animating or one of the scenes. To get rid of your pause, you can press that picture again, go back to pause, and just take it all the way back down to 1, and it will get rid of it. Next is audio. Now this is quite fun. You can add audio sound effects into your animation. So I'm going to add, there's all sorts here. There's a cow, a crowd cheer, all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to add some sound effects to mine. I'm going to add the sci-fi sweep. Sounds like breathing in space. So you can rehearse the sound or hear it before you add it just by pressing the little play triangle. And when you've picked your sound, you can just press it and it'll add that into your video. So now I've got a nice deep breathing in space sound effect. If you want to get rid of your sound, you can click the frame again, go back to audio and press delete. And that'll get rid of the audio you've added. Now the other audio you can add is theme music. There's a bit of music in here that you can add over the top of your animation. All sorts of different stuff here. I'm going to add investigations music to mine. See what that sounds like. That's quite nice. So try add some music to some of your scenes in your animations using the audio button. If you want to get rid of it, you just go back to audio and press delete. The other way you can add audio to your animations is to press the microphone here. Now, once you've pressed that, you can record yourself talking into the animation. Press record. You'll get a countdown and then it'll play. I'm Dave Biscuit and I'm floating in space. So I just recorded my voice there. Stop. Play. I'm Dave Biscuit and I'm floating in space. Great. So now that'll play my voice when I play the animation. I'm Dave Biscuit and I'm floating in space. I'm Dave Biscuit and I'm floating in space. So those are the ways you can add audio to your frames. Next, the next one is the edit one. This allows us to draw straight on to your frame on your iPad or your smartphone or smart device. You click the plus and you can add a drawing. You can add drawings on here. You can add text. Yeah, I'm just going to put wow. You can add shapes, speech bubbles, etc. And you can move them around, change the size, and you can add faces. There's all sorts of different things you can overlay onto your animation, should you need to. You can undo anything you don't want with the undo button. Next, the select button. The select button will allow you to select or highlight a lot of frames here. So from the frame I started with, I can scroll along and select all of those frames. Now, once I've done that, I can then cut or copy them. Cutting them will delete them all, but it will allow me to paste them back in somewhere else. Or you can select it all again. I can copy them, press the final tile and paste them in. So what I've done there is doubled the length of my animation by copying the whole thing and pasting it at the end. So you can use that to make certain parts of your animations longer, cutting them or copying them and pasting them back in. And the last option here is just delete. That'll just delete one of your frames. Maybe you had your hand in when you were taking one of the pictures, or you'd moved something you didn't want to. You can just delete that frame straight out of your animation. One final thing is we can add, if you press the plus button here, you can add title and credits. This will give you a little introduction to your animation. So there's lots of different templates here you can use. I'm going to go for the first one. And you can change the text by double clicking it. Let's call this David Biscuit in Space. The movie. I like that. So click the arrow in the top left when you're happy with your introduction. And now it will have an intro here before the movie starts. And there he is. So that's all the important settings for Stop Motion Studio. Definitely try and get creative with the audio, either recording your own voice for your characters or your voice reading the story that you're illustrating with your animation, or add some sound effects or a little bit of music. If you want, try and add an introduction using the opening, using the add title and credits button here. And remember, you can cut and paste and copy all your frames at the menu by clicking the pictures. Good luck.